Please close your eyes and take a moment There are two powerful mantras. One of them is the Gayatri mantra, which you all know. And the other one we'll be discussing in our morning satsang, which is also on Zoom. That's Tuesday morning at 6:45. Om Bhuvasvaha Tatsavitu Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Bhuvasvaha Tatsavitu Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Bhuvasvaha Tatsavitu Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Om. So we started this series of subtle yoga. Okay. And we talked about the nadis. We talked about the various bodies of yoga, of your bodies. We talked about alternate nostril breathing. And today we will start Kundalini. And then we'll go through chakra and chakra. But let's talk about Kundalini by itself. Kundalini is considered the ultimate life force of our physical vessel. The yogis say it's coiled up at the base of your spine in 3.5 coils. And it's waiting to be awakened. With other words, it's there, it's just not at full force. Okay? Now, we need food, we need air, and we need the vitality for the absorption of both of those. And that vitality is what Kundalini is really about. And this force is called either prana, chi, sarifat, mana, naima, chuel, and all of those in different cultures. Everybody talks about it. This life force. It's very important. This life force travels through our nadis, and those are subtle conduits in our etheric body, not in your physical body. It's in your etheric body. You have an etheric double. And that's what healers see. That's what Carillion photography sees. It's just subtle outside of your physical body. Okay? And if you ever heard about Carillion photography or done it, you can see it as colors. And then there are blockages if you have any diseases or whatever. And it depends upon your mood, of course. The colors change. Okay? So that's... Now we call these subtle nadis, or in our etheric double, that we say where there are 72,000 of them. Get her out of there. So 72,000 nadis, of which Ida and Pingala are the most important, very important. Ida and Pingala flow along the spinal column and intersect each other at various centers. They're called chakras. Ida Nadi represents the airflow through the left nostril, and it represents a feminine character, or its a negative polarity. Pingala flows through the right nostril. It's masculine in character, and it is also positive. We always have both positive and negative. We always have the opposite. Okay? When both nostrils flow, then the sushumna, which is the central channel, begins to awaken and starts rising up from the base of the spine, which is the one that's coiled. Now that nadi is referred to sometimes as Brahmanandata. Brahmanandanda. Brahman is God. That is the divine energy within you. Without that divine energy, you will not be changing. You will not be changing your physical body. You will not be changing your mental body. You will not be changing and going towards self-realization. Okay? And that divine energy begins to flow. And this is illustrated in the caduceus of Mercury. Because once it flows, you're in perfect health. So they all knew this. And it intercepts 6 times, and it is a snake. And we consider it a snake coiled at the base of your spine. Okay? And it's usually called female because energy is female. And it rises from the root chakra through those 3 channels, Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna. And that's what is called Shakti, energy. Shakti means energy. Our ashram's name is Yogashaktiny. Okay? Durga is called Shakti. It's a female energy. Okay? That's what it means. The whole universe is perceived by being created, penetrated, and stayed by 2 fundamental forces. And those 2 forces are indestructibly connected. And in the Indian tradition, we call that Lord Shiva and the elements of the universe, while Shakti is the potency that makes it work. Shiva is dead, Shakti makes it alive. With other words, our physical body cannot do anything without Shakti. Anything on this planet cannot do anything without that energy. Everything has to have that Shakti. All right? And Shakti is that which makes these elements come to life and become active. All right? When it rises through the Sushumna, and it does occasionally from everybody, but what yogis have developed techniques to make it rise. But it rises. In children, it rises a lot and comes back down. It rises up and down, rises up and down. But you want it to rise when you want it to rise, and you want it to rise on a permanent basis. But it is active in everyone. It pierces each subtle nerve plexus, and that's the 6 nerve plexus here. These are called chakras. It pierces them until it goes all the way to the Sahasrara chakra, to the top of your head. And so that's when the Shakti power has united with Shiva. And we'll talk about that when we talk about the individual chakras, okay? you should clearly understand that neither Kundalini nor and various plexuses are not physical. They're in your etheric double. Okay? So you have to understand. They're in the astral plane. The spinal cord is the physical counterpart to the Sushumna. So we always talk about it coming up the spinal cord. And sometimes you will even feel it in the spinal cord, because your etheric double outside affects your physical body. All right? The Sushumna is between Ida and Pingala. And it normally described like the snake in the Muladhara chakra, or the base chakra. And you will see that this is not uncommon knowledge. If you ever look at a statue of Mother Mary from the Catholic Church, there is a snake at her feet. This is not uncommon knowledge. It's just been hidden. Yogis have taken this kind of knowledge and made it so that you can work on it without waiting for you to achieve it through other means. This way, to get it there faster. And that's what yoga is all about, trying to reach that state more efficiently and faster. Okay? So, what do we have? We have 7 chakras. All right? And they have their root in the Sushumna, and which here in the illustration would be your spinal column. But they have like a tail, like that of a lotus flower, and sometimes they're called lotuses. Okay? So they have their ground in the Sushumna. So here's the base one, and that's called Muladhara. Then about a few inches above is called Swadhisthana. Then, where is that? I'm not seeing it on here. Okay. Then comes Manipur, which is where it is at the navel region. Anahat, which is at the heart sanctum. Vishuddhiyak, which is at the throat. Anya chakra, which is between the eyebrows, and Sahasrara in the crown of the head. Now, these can be activated through meditation and, of course, through yogic techniques. They can be activated through devotion as well, which is what other traditions do. But in but if you look at the mystics of all of the religious traditions, they all have a methodology to awaken it. The Kabbalists do yoga. They know about the chakras. Actually, they go with 15. So forth. They all, everyone, the mystics know. The Sufis dance and chant. So everyone knows about this. It does not function, it will function for us, but not to its fullest potential. Okay? It's not functioning to the fullest potential. One-pointed concentration, meditation, begins to move it and vibrate a little bit. In meditation, you can feel it, all right? The results can be observed through slight changes in personality, experiences, and behaviors. These are brought about through yoga, meditation, even as a goal of human evolution. As the lotuses begin to flower, well, they start in a closed form. And from psychic point of view, which can see your chakras, the psychics, don't worry, I can't. Okay. But they can see your chakra, and it looks like a horn of plenty. Sometimes it's open, sometimes it's kind of, distorted, the open. What you want to finally get that open, the lotus opens completely. Okay. And we'll go through that as we go through individual chakras. This is just your introduction to Kundalini, okay? And they start opening up to meditational pressure. Those fine nerves, there are nerves at each of these lotuses. And these will begin to start vibrating, and that will start opening. With other words, meditation is very important. Meditation through devotion. You see, meditation means one-pointed. And most of the traditions use devotion for that. Because when you are full of love, you're not thinking about anything else. When your heart is open, you're not thinking about anything else. You're in a kind of meditation. Whereas the Zen masters and so forth, they force their meditation, because to open the heart all the time is not very difficult. It's quite difficult. But other traditions use devotion for that. All right? Now, when the left nostril is flowing freely, the right pingala is freely, then the right Ida is active. When the right nostril is flowing, pingala is functioning. The confluence of the two causes Sushumna to go. So that's another thing. You want to have your breath. In our book, Mataji's book called Swara Yoga, which is available on an ebook from Amazon, or from us in a PDF, that prana Shakti, or cosmic currents of energy, flow in and out when one inhales and exhales the air. Breath is known as prana vani nadi, the river of vitality. Breath is the vehicle for the circulation of prana. And you know that. If you're not breathing well, you have less energy. When you're happy, you breathe a lot. When you're sad, you're kind of like, oh, you're barely breathing. Vitality comes through the breath. That's because it is the way prana comes to us. Oxygen, as I talked about the last time, carries prana molecules. Okay. So, alternate nostril breathing, which we spoke about a couple of ones ago, is very, very important, because you want to open both channels. Because you're only going to be breathing through one. If you'd go right now, which one is flowing? Check it out. Yeah. They're not both flowing. Whichever is flowing, when you're talking about Swara Yoga, they have decided when one is flowing, certain things to do are more effective. When the other is flowing, certain things to do are more effective. So then yogis make sure that they move the prana around so it's flowing when they want to do something. And that's called Swara Yoga, okay, where the prana Shakti should be for each part in your life. So you want the flow to become even. And that's why we do the alternate nostril breathing, so that we can open up the Ida and Pingala nadis. Very important. Alternate nostril breathing is very important. Whereas during regular pranayama, you're only going to be using one major one. The other one breathes a little bit, but it's not really coming fully in pranayama. But in alternate nostril breathing, you're making both do equal amount of breath. Even though one doesn't feel as fluid as the other, you're still breathing totally through that other one. Okay? Naturally, both are flowing, unless you have a stuffed nose. Both are flowing, but one is flowing more than the other. Okay? Or we call it polarized breathing, either one. So, it is very important to cleanse the nadis. And it's even spoken of in the Bhagavad Gita. And there are many ways of doing this. And I want you to start finding out how you can do it. During asanas, you're already being practiced to start moving the nadis. Okay? During asanas, we're beginning to breathe more deeply, hopefully. Hopefully. We keep saying breathe deeply. That doesn't mean all of you are doing it, but we keep saying it. But that is the idea. In asanas, it should be a breathing, it should be a pranayam for 1 whole hour that you're doing asanas. Because with every movement, there should be a breath. And you will see that it will start flowing in alternate nostrils. Usually they change about every hour, but in Hatha Yoga, they change more quicker. It's amazing. Because naturally, they change every hour. The breath flow from one nostril to the other. So in Hatha Yoga, they begin to flow more regularly. So that's Hatha Yoga, and that's why there is no Hatha Yoga unless you use your breath. Unless you use your breath. With every motion, there has to be a breath. That is absolutely important. And during the day, you should start breathing deeply, because prana, or vital energy, is accessing your physical body through oxygen. It is not oxygen, but the prana comes through oxygen. It also comes, and we've spoken about it, through food, naturally. It comes through the drinks that you're drinking. But it has to be fresh food. It has to be not processed food, because that takes out all prana. Processing food takes out prana. Cooking food takes out some prana, but then when we chew it, we bring the prana back in through the saliva. So that's why some traditions say you must chew 50 times.
And don't drink water.
No, you don't drink water during a meal. You drink water before a meal, you drink water after a meal, but never during a meal. But a lot of people drink water or Cokes or whatever in between a meal, because this is where you bring the prana back in. Okay? And this is where you absorb. There are so many scientific things that we can do to help us get more prana in the physical body. And that you want. And then if you start using alternate nostril, you're already full of prana. And your mind has a lot to do with it, that it will take in prana. Our mind is more powerful than you can possibly imagine, that it affects our physical body. Our mind affects it. You know that. If you're depressed, your body feels what?
Low energy.
Low energy. If you're happy, you're not even touching the floor as you don't walk. Remember your very first puppy love. The very first puppy love that you had. You flew across the floor. Yeah. Okay. Yes. It's very, very important. And when you are full of prana, then your energy radiates from you. The energy radiates from you not only from the physical body, it also opens the heart center. Isn't that amazing? And that's what you want to do. In order to affect people around you positively, be full of prana. They will get the radiation from you. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to do nothing. You just have to be around people with that wonderful positive energy, and they will feel it and change. And all of us now are needed to bring this positive energy in. So we're teaching you all these techniques. Now start breathing. Bring in your prana and allow it to radiate out from you so that it can affect others around you in a positive manner. I remember when we first bought these buildings over there, and they were in terrible condition. And Mataji decided that Mokshapriya should come up here and help her fix them. And Mokshapriya was like Jyoti, okay? She could figure out whatever she needed to do and do it at that time. And everybody told me be careful when you're coming up. I was in the Florida ashram. When you're coming up to New York, you know, these people, they're really difficult, and don't talk to anybody. They're not nice. Be careful. Well, for me to fix things that I don't know what to do about, we didn't have the internet at that time. We didn't have YouTube like you do now, where you can look up everything. Now Google tells you everything too. I didn't have any of that. So I had to go to people and find out. And all I did was just go with an open heart and found out. Everybody helped me. Then there was an experiment. I had to fix the front of the building because it was falling down. And so I put up the scaffolding, and I stood up there every day in the morning. And people would walk by, and I would say, good morning. The first day, because the same people walk by because they're going to work, right? So that's the same people coming by. They look at me. What are you doing up there? Why are you saying hello? Second day, Third day, and I said good morning and smiled. They were beginning to become lighter. Fourth day, they were saying good morning to me before I could say it. You see, what you put out is what you get back. If you are afraid and if you think that they are terrible, that's what you're going to get. Okay? I went to the plumbing supply store, and I told him what I wanted to do. He would draw it out for me, give me the tools, draw it out exactly what I had to do. Where would you get such a help? Only on Google, which wasn't around. Okay? Yes, what you put out, you will get back. Our thoughts are nothing but a vibration. Whatever vibration you send out, you will get back. We are needed to send out good vibrations, powerful vibrations. There is change on this planet, and people are fighting that change. They are fighting like anything to maintain their own miserable selves. Okay? Because they don't want change. They want to be miserable. They want to hate people. They want to be prejudiced because that gave them power, supposedly. They need to change. The only way they're changing is by us radiating powerful energy. They won't listen to reason. They will not change because you talk about it. None of that will help. But sending out good vibrations and loving energy, that will change a person. And only that. You can talk to the day of whatever. You can want somebody to change, but unless you change around them, they will not change. Because they're reflecting what energy you put out. Got that? And that is also with your loved ones close to home. But because you have already preconceived notions of after so many years of dealing with them, you're not changing. But once you change and open your heart, they will change. Or leave. Whichever one you prefer. Okay. So this prana energy and activating the Sushumna is vitally important. And we're going to continue studying Kundalini. And there is nothing that you have to worry about. If you're doing it properly, many times they say, don't awaken the Kundalini, it will destroy you. Yes, if it is awakened incorrectly or too early, or if your mind is not at the right position. I have had no one go crazy with awakening Kundalini in my 50 years of teaching, because we immediately work on a different level. We don't awaken it in a certain manner. All right? So that's very important. And if you do awaken it physically, you must also allow it to disperse so that it does not destroy part of you, because it is extremely powerful. It is extremely powerful. Okay? And you will have different, let me finish. Okay? So, with that, I will conclude. And next week is Giri, but the following week we will start with the Muladhara chakra. All right? Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.